right. Good morning, everyone. It is 9:02 on March 24th, and I would like to welcome you to the Anchorage Advisory Committee meeting. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. We'll start over here.
Jennifer Rusk here.
John Leslie Nash is present.
Sam Lurie.
Chris Riedel King.
Ted Lawwill.
Jim Adderholt, Council Liaison.
Last but not least,
Curtis Ledwig, Harbor Master.
okay. And we are missing committee member Ed Schoonover today, and also our newest member, Ron Fleming.
We are reaching out to him right
Okay.
now.
And Madam Chair, just for the record, Mr. Schoonover did reach out to me
Yes.
this morning to say that he is under the weather.
Exactly.
Otherwise, he would be here.
Thank you so much for that update. Okay, public comment? I see no one in the audience for public comment. Let's move to approval of the minutes. We have two sections of minutes to approve today. We have the meeting on the 21st, which was the joint meeting with the Anchorage Advisory Committee and the MRF Committee. Does anybody have any comments about the minutes? Did everybody have a chance to read them?
Move we accept the minutes.
All right, we have a motion from Ted.
Seconded by Sam.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, those are approved. And we also have the minutes from our last meeting, which was held on Monday, February 24th. Has everybody had a chance to read those minutes? Questions or concerns?
Chairwoman, I did not receive those minutes.
Would you like to take a quick look?
I'd be happy to review them
Okay.
quickly.
All right, we'll give you a second to take a look at those.
I'm not translating into Swahili for you.
I probably understand it. Thank you, Chairwoman.
You are welcome. Any questions or concerns, John?
No, no.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Okay.
Seconded by Sam.
All righty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. All right, thank you very much. I would like to switch a little bit of the order of the agenda. It says we have Cruiser Appreciation Day next, but I'd like to do staff report and update since we have Joe here to talk as well. And
Perfect. I was going to recommend that.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Any concerns, anybody? All right. Okay, Curtis, take it away.
Alrighty. So, good morning, everybody. I just want to touch base on a few things we got going on. So, I don't know if y'all saw my update on Friday on the debris removal project we have going on right now. So we should be in Canal 21 today. Should be working on that, and then from there, our next canal is going to jump down to 28. So everything from 21, in between 21 and 28 is clear. If not, there's a few yellows, but we're going to come back to those. That the yellows signify minimal debris or debris, smaller debris around the bulkheads, meaning the main channel of the canal is clear. So as of Friday, we have 920 cubic yards, well over that right now, and I'm sure after this weekend we're way ahead of that number, way past that. So things are going smooth. Our end date for that project is going to be April 30th. So we're moving along pretty well right now. So
Curtis, could you explain what the end date is relevant to? Is that when the funding ends, or that's just the scope of the project as originally designed?
So that is the scope of the project off the extension that we got approval on. After that's done, if we still have items, or, you know, the contractors say, hey, we still have large debris in these number of canals or whatever, then that would be, I would have to look at to getting approval for another extension, seeing what council would want to do. But I hope that we get everything and we're good on April 30th.
Okay.
So, hopefully we don't have to get to that.
Okay, thank you.
Curtis, if I could,
Yes.
two things. Number one, the video that you did with our PIO for the town was
Yes.
excellent. And please insist on doing those each week, because I think the people really found those helpful.
Absolutely,
And they're
yes. That's
very
the pla-
encouraging.
That's
Yep.
the plan going forward.
That's
Vice Mayor.
great. And also, nice job discussing this matter on Beach Talk Radio on Saturday.
Thank you.
Did a great job.
Appreciate that. Next update I got's on the dinghy dock. Finally moving forward on this. It's been a long-awaited project. You know, just from the hurricanes this year and everything, that kind of got pushed a little further than we wanted it to. But we should be getting the contract back this week from Kelly Brothers signature and moving forward. So hopefully by the end of this week, I should expect a timeline of when the construction of that's gonna happen. What else do I got right now? We were pretty full this weekend. I shouldn't say full, but we were. Our numbers were higher than we have. This weekend was our highest numbers that we've seen yet. So had pretty close to 75 boats on mooring balls. So, but that's with transient vessels and stuff. So they stay for the weekend and then leave. So we got a lot of people leaving this morning, but got a lot of reservations over the weekend into this week too. So the season's in full force. I think we have a couple more weeks until we start seeing it die down again. So, you know, very, very happy with how things are working there. And what else? I think that'll do it right now. If you'll have any questions for me, and then we will get into Joe's presentation with the financials.
Any questions for Curtis?
I wasn't sure if, remember there was a boat that was sticking out that we had talked about getting a light or something?
The light is there. The light's been there for a couple weeks now.
Oh, it is. Is that boat at the end of Ohio?
Ball number
It's
40,
right, it's right out from
It
that.
is?
Maybe
Okay.
a little left to right of that, but yes, it's pretty close, straight off of Ohio Street,
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure because I had seen something out.
And I checked it this morning. I was out Saturday pumping out the pirate ship and the sightseer vessel at Salty Sam's. I was out early in the morning, and the lights going strong. So
I do have some information on that boat. That boat was formerly, before, about a month or two before Ian, that boat was sold, but the former owner was Kathy Light and her husband Jay Light,
Okay.
who was the chairman of this committee, an original member, and like the best person on the committee she was the chairman for decades. And if you needed some contact information about who she sold it to, were they able to contact the current owner?
So LCSO and FWC took that over immediately. So they it's reg tagged right now, but it's going through the process for them to remove it. When I first got here, we had a sunken vessel on ball 56 from Hurricane Ian. When I first got here, it was a couple months after I got here, they removed that vessel on 36, and that boat just sunk as well. So I thought they were going to grab both of them at the same time. They only grabbed the one because the process of that ball on 47 was still going through the process. So I've reached out to LCSO. They said it should be soon. So I don't know how they do things once it gets to a certain project. I don't know if I believe they I believe they contracted out to a contractor to come and remove it. But that's something that I can touch base with them on this week and get an update on that and see what the timeline is on.
If they need to serve somebody or need contact information or owner information, I might be able to get that if that's something they're looking for.
Okay, understood. Thank you, Sam.
All right, so, Mr. Joe,
Mr. Joe.
to take us into the fun world of finances.
And just so y'all know, I sent y'all this PowerPoint this morning, so you should have it by email, hopefully. If not, I can pass around these copies as well. He's gonna have it up here too, so.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joe Onsick, Finance Director. You could move to the next slide, please. Seem to have a control up here.
I kinda wish Ed was here because this was he
Yes,
wanted.
right.
Well, I always like to start, Joe always has wonderful information, but I always like to set the table for Joe. So Joe's here this morning because the mooring field is supposed to be revenue neutral. It's a not-for-profit, it's not necessarily legally not-for-profit, but it's a town-owned entity, but as part of our founding documents, it has to be revenue neutral. So the challenge for Joe, of course, and for the island is that we haven't had a normal year of revenue stream for probably 4 or 5 years, given COVID and red tide and everything we've gone through and with the hurricanes. So the goal of the committee is to try to figure out a way to make sure we're pricing our product appropriately, so the taxpayers of Fort Myers Beach don't have to subsidize it, and those who utilize it cover the costs of providing the service. So that's why Joe's here this morning, and he's still, in fairness to poor Joe, because we're still looking for some normal numbers to compare. We don't have anything to compare it to for some time, and he's here to try to help us ensure that at least we're striving towards revenue neutrality, and this is one of the things that Ed Schoonover has talked about quite a bit. So I'm sorry, Joe, I just thought I'd lay the foundation before you get going.
Well, I appreciate that background. It will help.
Is fiscal year start October 1st?
It does.
Yes, thank you.
It does. So what I've tried to put together for you here, it may look a little bit familiar because I took last year's presentation that I prepared for you about this time. I think it was maybe in April that I came last year. So the first few columns, way over on the right, that's FY 20, 21, and 22. Those are basically the same figures that I showed you last year. The top 2 lines of figures represent the operating revenues and then the expenses. And then that first bolded line is, in terms of operating revenue and expense, that shows you how we did those first 3 years from FY 20, 21, and 22. And you can see operationally, we were coming out ahead in terms of revenue over expenses for those years. The next section below that, it represents what was spent on capital improvements to the mooring field. And then there's also revenues that we received that were from grants that helped to pay for those improvements, in addition to investing some of that, I guess you would say, operational profit from those years. That second bolded line then shows you like the overall impact then. So in FY 20, we came out ahead operationally by 24,000. We spent 74,000 in improvements. So we ended up with a negative 50,000 for that year. The next year, we had 50,000 operating profit. We invested money into operations, but we also had received a grant. So the net effect of that was we still came out ahead 37,000 for that year. In FY 22, of course, that was the year of Hurricane Ian's impact, but that was at the end of FY 22. So it was still roughly a normal year. So we came out operationally $49,000 ahead. There was quite a bit of mooring field investment that year. Some of the reimbursement didn't come until 2024. So that's what, way over under the 2024 column, you see that $130,000 figure coming in as revenue. That was actually the remaining reimbursement for what was spent in FY '22 of that $428,000. So although it looks like we have a negative $262,000, if you look ahead into the future, you could see $130,000 was applied to that. So it really was only, if you take that into consideration, only about $130,000 loss in total. In FY '23, that's where we now see the impact of Hurricane Ian. There was hardly any operating revenue, only $28,000. We still had the expenditures of $230,000. So operationally, we were behind $202,000. There were still some remaining capital expenditures that came through for some of the improvements that were remaining to be completed. But what I showed on a separate line was we do have the bridge loan, which was intended to provide us with some lost revenue relief. And so for 2023, we applied $237,000 of the mooring field's share of that lost revenue replacement. And this was in comparison to 2022 as a baseline. So that kind of brought the whole overall total only then to a negative $34,000. In 2024, which is the year we just completed, it's not yet been audited, so there may still be some minor adjustments to those figures, but they should be pretty close. So we had $190,000 of revenue, $404,000 of operating expense, so we were behind $214,000. Now, we will have some lost revenue replacement from the bridge loan to apply to FY '24, but that figure hasn't been calculated yet, but it will be soon. And once we have that figure, then of course that'll improve the bottom line there. FY '25 year to date, this is only $92,000 so far. This is through February, so I think it's not reflecting March yet, obviously, but through February we had $92,000 of revenue and $173,000 of expense. So we're behind at that point by $81,000. Total capital expenses are minimal, so it brought the total negative amount to $85,000. According to the budget looks kind of strange because we were trying to be realistic in terms of the expenses that we were anticipating for the year, but also very conservative about the revenue. And so it's showing we budgeted $336,000 negative amount in terms of operational results. But as you can see, year to date, which is only 5 months into the year, we already have $92,000 worth of revenue, so it's almost what we budgeted for the whole year. So we should exceed that for the year. And we also then, we're expecting to use some of the revenue replacement money to make up the difference for FY '25 as well. So I think this is maybe in some ways clear, but in some ways maybe very confusing. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
I do have a question. So, can you give a little context behind operating expenses? What goes into that and why has it increased? Why have you projected such an increase for 2025, as well as capital expenses? What have some of those things been and what do you see on the horizon that we need to be mindful of?
Well, for capital expenses, those were basically the mooring field expansion as far as I know, and
Okay.
I'm not aware yet of what the plan might be for future improvements, so we still have to have those discussions when we prepare the budget for 2026, and unless maybe Curtis, you have something you'd like to offer now as far as
And as far as expanding the mooring field, there's no plans where, I mean, like I said, until I'm slam full, then that's something I'll bring up. But right now, I mean, 89 balls is enough right now. The main focus for us right now is just maintaining what we have right now. Any expansion would be new facility, maybe a different dock somewhere, something like that. That would be the expansion that I would like to do. But there's nothing that we're talking about that we're gonna expand. Right now, we're just holding strong on what we have and keeping it nice and up to date.
So capital expenses would be for the mooring field itself and any buildings and structural things like that, but operating expenses, that would be like a new boat or,
New
Yes.
boat, maintenance to the mooring, we're definitely gonna be adding the maintenance to the mooring balls and stuff like that we did right at the first of the year. That'll be a yearly thing that we will, be doing. We're gonna reach out to the contractor, we're gonna use the contractors for that.
And I should clarify that the capital would also include a new boat if there were to be a new boat.
Oh,
So it
okay.
would be in that section.
so new boat would go into capital?
It would, maintaining, maintenance, repairs, that
Correct.
would be in operating.
Correct.
So, why did we have such a huge jump from, fiscal year 2023 to 2024? It's almost 200,000
I would,
in total operating expenses.
that's a good question. I'd have to look back to get you more detail on that. Some of it probably was personnel. I think, I'm just trying to go off of memory. I think personnel was inadequately budgeted for in the past, and I think they kind of got away with it because of vacancies, and so much of time there was spent. Not time, but the period of time in which there was vacancies. I think they tried to and what we tried to do going forward is plan for the full year's expense and not planning on vacancies. So I think that was part of the difference. Some of the difference is liability insurance, so everyone in the town's department's share of liability expense went up significantly, and by that's the cost of insurance, and because we were very underinsured before, so the mooring fields had a significant increase in insurance as well, so that's part of the operational expense.
Could that be debris cleanup as well?
Well, yes, because I think for 2000, the actual expense now includes, I think it was about $30,000 for
For the maintenance.
maintenance,
Yes, correct.
whereas before employees were
Mhm,
doing maintenance. So now we have that increase, so that'll be added to next year's budget. I'm trying to think of other things that may have been included.
Is the Denny dock and part of that, the cost of construction of the dinghy dock?
Is
It,
that capital?
it should, it shouldn't be, because that's a FEMA funded
Okay.
project, so,
That's true.
yeah,
Okay,
it
so
shouldn't,
shouldn't
that
show.
shouldn't reflect along with the canal debris
And that
removal,
also
it's all
includes
FEMA
the debris
funded.
cleanup?
That's what it just said,
Oh,
Jen,
yeah.
that's FEMA's, the canal debris removal project is FEMA funded as well.
Yes.
So that means the 440,000 doesn't include cleanup of canals and doesn't
No,
should
include
not.
shouldn't.
dinghy dock.
No.
It should not.
Also in here would be the Lee County Sheriff Office. Is it like patrol services that they provide for the
Correct.
mooring field? and
Correct.
Also around the island. So that's charged here. We do receive a grant to help pay for that. So that would be reflected in the revenue side. We have not received the reimbursement yet. But it would be coming. That's, I think, from WCIND is the source of the grant for that. We also have grant revenue for the pump out services.
Correct.
And that has not been received yet. So there's sometimes are delays in receiving the grant and revenues, so that to the extent that we don't receive that, then that's also having a negative impact on things.
So these numbers are as accurate as possible that we can get right now, but they are going to
Change.
change.
Yes, and maybe, Josh, if we could switch to the next slide, it may help a little bit. I tried to break out the expenses into some of the categories that might help you. So, and this is just to take the annual budget of what we had, convert it into a 5-month budget, just for the sake of comparison, since we're comparing against 5 months of actual expense. So you can see the variances according to the budget. So we're ahead in personnel because of vacancies. Training there, we're still, well, no, that doesn't make sense. The variance, oh, yes, it does. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong column. So we have not spent anything in training yet. That's been charged to that account. Cell phone electricity is just slightly over budget. Upland facilities, now this is an anomaly because I don't think enough was budgeted to begin with. For upland facilities, this would be the rent at Matanzas, and I believe. So that is a fixed amount, and I think at the time that we were putting the budget together, it wasn't known how that was going to work. So I don't think enough was budgeted for that. So it's not a reflection of overspending, it's just the budget was not sufficient. Mooring system maintenance, you already know that was not budgeted, but that's the 30,000 there. Contractual services, that mostly would be the merchant, like credit card fees that we pay on processing, the payments that come in through the mooring field. Repairs and maintenance, that would be, anything that could cover equipment, it could cover anything at all regarding that requires maintenance. Supplies, I'm not sure what those would be, probably Curtis could shed more light on that, but we're ahead budget-wise for that. And then the liability insurance, so it was up to 62,000 for the year. So we're pretty close to budget right now on that. But overall, compared to the budget, we're $10,000 favorable.
Go ahead.
Chairwoman, I have two questions. When you talk about the FWC expenses, can you shed some light on what that is as far as amount and what type of offset we get in a grant?
Now that, are you speaking
I
of?
think you're
the
talking about LCSO.
the sheriff?
The sheriff's department, yes.
I'm sorry,
That's-
Sheriff Department.
Oh, boy, trying to remember the exact amount. We
Just
could-
trying to get a feel for the impact on that, on the budget.
I could be wrong on this, but I want to say it could be as much as $75,000 for which we're reimbursed a significant portion of that. Does that sound right to you,
I
Curtis?
believe so. That was something
Okay.
that, I wasn't too involved with that. Frankie wouldn't.
Okay.
So right now,
Frankie was involved in
But
that.
I could find out for sure
Okay.
and then.
but
send
right
you
now,
an
we don't
email
see
with-
those numbers included in what we're looking at, correct?
It is. The actual expense is included, but I don't believe the reimbursement has come in yet.
Okay.
Is it in one of these lines, or is it in the capital?
Well, the expense probably
personnel.
isn't, see, this is another thing that is not correct. It should have been budgeted on contractual services,
Okay,
but it wasn't.
okay.
And so, but I think the thinking was what's going to be reimbursed, but yet the actual expense is going to end up showing up there. And it's been minimal so far also.
So Curtis, the upland facilities, would that be where we would budget the cost of the pump out remediation as far as how we get rid of that currently Pink Shell is doing for us? Would that include that cost, or is that some other place in the budget?
So you're talking about Matanzas offering us pump out facilities, or you're saying the cost of what Pink Shell charges us to pump out?
Well, I don't believe Pink Shell is
They're
charging
not.
us anything.
They're not.
So was that budgeted with that being a zero cost, or was there something budgeted in there to cover that normal cost
I don't believe anything was budgeted for the pump outs because it was a,
because it was
We
zero
knew it was
cost?
going to be covered.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Before the legislature, did we already
Well,
received that? I
if
thought we
we've-
already received some of that, right?
We received it, in theory, I mean, they approved it, we have a signed agreement, and it's been approved to be dispersed to us. But the only delay is that apparently the state has only, releases certain amount of cash each quarter. And so we didn't make it into this quarter's, bucket, but it's going to be in the next quarter, so we should be expecting to receive it then.
Very good. Well, the other question I had, just go up 10,000 feet. So you're our finance director, and it has to be a bit challenging because you have operational costs here, and then you've got all this capital costs, which fluctuates. And then you've got all these grants that come and sometimes offset the capital costs, and so even sometimes the operational costs. How do you sort of, do you, in your mind, you just sort of begin to reserve some of this? Because again, if the goal is to make sure we're charging the appropriate amount to those who use the services, how do you kind of figure this out so it all becomes revenue neutral? I know you probably will never get it perfect, because it would be impossible, but how do you approach it philosophically?
Well, I think this year when we put the budget together, this will probably be the best exercise we'll have had in that effort, because we'll have much better information to work with. Curtis will have been here and experienced with it, so he'll have firsthand knowledge to contribute. So it's from my perspective, I try to first get an accurate understanding of what does it actually cost to operate the mooring field. Once we know that, then I think that's where we have to compare that to the revenue, and then look at what are realistic expectations in terms of like utilization of the spaces, the mooring field, like what percentage of occupancy can we expect, and then try to do some calculations based on what the current rates are and see where we land. And hopefully, I think last year we tried to do that, and it looked like if things are back to normal, we would break even. I'm not sure if we're in that same place now, but we will look at that again.
Right.
So it may be an opportunity to try to, or to consider possibly increasing the rates to close that gap, or if there is anything different we can do expenditure-wise to help. We'll look at that. But really, it's I think it's personnel and the maintenance costs of the mooring field are the two main driving factors, and of course the liability.
Yeah, I was
insurance.
about to say,
So
liability, I
that's-
think, is the biggest.
Yeah, that's a big one. So I think, so once we have a good handle on what to expect expenditure-wise, and then see if we need to adjust revenues, I think that's what we'll do. On the capital side, that's more complex, because we're talking about maybe savings from prior years that are being tapped into to spend for current year improvements, and our information doesn't go back far enough to know, well, did we have enough savings in prior years to have warranted spending as much as we did in capital improvements now, or were those capital improvements truly needed and the town just contributed to it? I mean, that's really a debatable topic, but I think going forward, if we know that there aren't going to be capital improvements, it's almost kind of like a restart, and we'll know if we have any savings that will go towards the next capital improvements. So I think it's a matter of kind of resetting, kind of having a restart. And I think also we'll have a better idea once we have the lost revenue calculation for 2024, like where we stand overall. So that'll come into play. But it's a complicated thing, and the mooring field is only just one piece of a big puzzle. So,
And
but
what isn't reflected is the benefit to the town that the mooring field provides in
yes,
providing
yes.
safe harbor for these boats. We can regulate what they do with their waste. We just have a lot more control over their behavior, so we can keep our water quality good. They're, an economic engine for the town. So, you have a budget, but it doesn't really necessarily show all of the benefit that you're getting because you have this.
Absolutely.
Just a couple of comments. The entity which causes us to have to break even is our land lease. And the land lease is the one that has that restriction that we have to not make a profit. Secondly, do you have a good occupancy and income data for past years, or has that gotten lost along the way?
I believe I've seen a spreadsheet that someone was keeping. It was kind of outside the finance department, but it was a very detailed spreadsheet. Was that you?
I think so.
Okay.
But I do have those
Okay.
two figures for up to 22, I think,
Okay.
if you have any need for them.
Thank you.
And it would be nice if we, from now on, could receive on a monthly basis our occupancy and income figures. My graph is run out.
Oh, sure.
I think last meeting I provided the monthly figures from, I believe it was January, but every month I can bring that in, and I can check. I've actually gone back on DACWA, looked at our occupancy for this time of year back in, I believe it was 21 before Ian, and we are. And this is before we had the front mooring field. So I'm a little bit above those numbers right now is what I'm seeing. So I think we're doing better. But like I said, every month I can bring those 2 reports in for y'all so y'all can see. I'll add that to my list.
Will they be
forward.
cumulative, so you get not only just that month's report, so we can catch up for the ones up to this time?
You mean pull up like
I mean,
the
I
last
assume
times
you
from the-
yeah, and I was trying to get continuation of the occupancy and income report so that we'll have this month and what has happened for the last few months
Yeah.
in the same spot.
Absolutely. What I can do is just bring everything from the beginning of the year. Would that work? Or do you
Great.
want? Okay. Absolutely.
And compared to a normal previous year, just so that we see how we're doing in comparison as
Yeah.
well as for the year?
I have 10 years worth of, but I
Okay.
got a blank in there.
Okay.
Because
I'm not
honestly, I
sure.
think the most accurate number was kind of 21, a year 21, but I think really it's going to be before COVID when you're going to get accurate numbers, you know what I mean? So just, keep that in mind. I hope I can go back that far. I'll have to look on DACWA and check. I've only been able to go back to like 21, so.
Well, the spreadsheet has at least those figures.
It does, okay.
If you don't have it, you can find it.
Are we competitive to other areas in fees?
Yes, we are. So that's what I looked at. One of my first or second meetings, that was one of the first things we did. We actually increased our monthly rate, and we pretty much we increased the daily rate, kept the monthly rate a little bit. It's about the same. So we never really changed that. We did tweak some things, just how we're budgeted between DACWA and the town and make those things meet because they were a little off at that time. So so that's something we can look at moving forward for this next fiscal year coming up. If we want to look at increasing the monthly rate, I know that's something we said we would revisit when the time comes. So that's something I'm willing to do with y'all and give me pointers. But we have called other marinas and mooring fields around, and we are right. That was my goal. I don't want to be high. I don't want to be too low. I want to be right in the middle. And I believe that's where we're at right now. But we can, let's say before, August, September, start looking into that again and make sure we can, if we want to make that change, we'll be able to present it for the budget and have that.
Jennifer, I did some research on that on my own, and absolutely find that we're pretty much in line with what you'll find in the southwest coast from Sarasota down to Key West.
All right. Any other questions for Joe?
Yes, just one. We were only in the Harbor House for not very long before Ian, but will we, as we move forward and look for more upland areas, will we be able to do a comparison between in-house as we did in Harbor House as opposed to when we have Matanzas? We'll be able to pull those numbers so that council will be able to make some decisions on that?
As far as like what historically it cost us
Just what our
to.
what our
what the-
expenses were, taking it pretty much totally in-house as opposed to having Matanzas or someone
Sam,
else.
just to be clear, whenever we were in the Harbor House. I mean, obviously that was before my time, but I still think we had both. We had the rental of the Harbor House, and we still had the
We
upland
did.
facilities for Matanzas as well. So
We did.
it wasn't Harbor House. It was both of them. It was
We're
Matanzas
probably gonna
and
be starting from scratch for those figures then.
Anything else? All right, thank you so much, Joe, we appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, thank
Thanks for
you.
your hard work.
Thank you, Joe.
Good presentation.
Anything else on staff reports?
You can have it. I have it on. I sent it to you when you have an email too, so you're good, you're good.
Anything else on staff reports, Curtis?
Joe kind of refreshed my memory. We are moving forward with the new boat. So it's gonna be about, a 5-month build. And we are in the beginning stages of that right now. Not the build, just getting to that point, I should
Okay.
say. So, hopefully by the end of summer, I'm hoping.
New pump out boat?
No, it's not a pump out boat. This is our operational boat. So this
To
is
replace the one that went
to
missing?
replace well, it's gonna do both. It's
Okay.
gonna replace the one, the enforcement skiff that we had, and then we also have a pontoon boat right now, and that's our maintenance boat. And this boat is going to be able to do both of those things.
With a boom to,
Has a boom, we're gonna have a winch on it, it will have a spud pole for us to spud down and, be able to service the buoys better. This is a landing craft vessel, so what that means is the bow will drop down, we'll be able to hoist stuff up if we need to, we'll be able to, because the goal is, as this debris removal project's going on, obviously, we're not gonna be able to, remove large items, but we're gonna be able to keep up with the debris and service the canals better with this vessel. And the goal is after this, debris removal project is for my team to continue to maintain it and stuff. I mean, we're always gonna be picking up debris and trash out of the water, so, and also, residents and stuff, play a part in that as well, and giving us a heads up of what's in the canals and things of that nature for us to help out as well.
Is that in your budget to clean up the canals?
I wouldn't say,
In other words, I'm trying to figure out the presentation we just had.
I don't know, that's something that we're gonna have to talk about this budget coming up.
I mean, is there money that's associated with that, or it's really just your personnel?
It's just our personnel.
Yeah.
It falls under the job description for the mooring field.
So that would not be an expense, or that has to be somehow reported as, we want to tell the public that this is how much the mooring field sort of costs each year. We'll have to be sure that amount of funds is not included in our expenses for the mooring field.
Well, is it more that the mooring field itself is, what has to break even, or is it sort of marine operations? Because really, as we've talked, I mean, it's,
It's the land lease.
okay, so we have to actually break those two things up?
Well-
That's kind of hard, isn't it?
I mean, if you want to say, I would say the canals are more under the marine operations
Yeah.
than the mooring field.
So that's what I was hoping, that would be in that budget, not
Okay.
in the mooring field
Yes,
budget.
yes, correct.
You're in charge of both, but
Right.
different budgets.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying now.
Okay.
Yes.
So
'Cause
is
we-
what Joe
we-
showed us the mooring field budget or the marine operations budget?
It was mooring field.
It was mooring field.
Okay.
Yeah.
But all of your personnel is accounted for under mooring field, even though they do other things.
Correct.
It's
And
it's
I'll
it's
get
an
more
ongoing
clarity.
challenge, like in local government. Frankie spends a lot of time on utilities, but is a percentage of his salary paid for by the utility division, which is separate from the town? No, but many communities fund many of the other salaries through their utility, because it's easier to raise utility rates than it is to raise taxes. So some of this is always fungible, because so many of these, especially in a small town, so many people wear so many different hats.
Right.
It's hard to account for it all, but it's a good question.
Okay. Anything else on the budget topic? Alrighty then, let's move on to Cruisers Appreciation Day. We have a lot to talk about. Yes, John?
Madam Chair, I do have a question that I know was answered many meetings ago, many years ago. If you have a vessel that's moored for a significant period of time, or possibly anchored for a significant period of time, do you have a way of detecting if that vessel is using proper pump out or is violating the pump out rules? And if so, what is your standard procedures for addressing that?
Okay. Yeah. So we actually pump out a lot of vessels in the anchorages. So we have an idea of who's in there, who's not. We know who stays on the boat, on the vessels. It's a tight community back there. So everybody kind of keeps an eye out on each other. So if there is somebody new that comes up, we always swing by and say hey to everybody if we see them out on deck, ask them if they need a pump out, ask them what their plan is for pumping out. And then if can't get a hold of that person, we know that they're discharging into the water, that's when I will call the Coast Guard and then LCSO as well on those matters, and we will handle it that way with them. But for the most part, we have been getting a round turn on that. We haven't had any significant issues. But yeah, that's where we're at right now.
So, right now, it sort of comes down to suspicion.
Correct.
Right. Is there any mechanism, I thought there was before, but it could be my misunderstanding. Is there any mechanism to put dye in their holding tank if you suspect that there's a violation of pump out, that you can detect that it is?
I mean, I can't put dye in their tank. I can't go on board without their permission or anything like that. That would kind of be a violation and kind of an illegal thing. So I'm not going to do that. Now there's something that we could, ask them, but that's kind of a
Right,
hard.
it doesn't, that, if they're not gonna respect the regulations not to pump out, they're not gonna let you put dye in their tank.
Correct.
Okay. I had heard that, that has occurred in other places.
Gotcha.
Outside Florida. I didn't know if we had the capability of doing that here.
But also, just so you know, like a lot of vessels out there, they have, a lot of them have compost heads as well.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
a lot of boats
They wouldn't be, yeah.
don't require, and we have several Anchorage boats out there that they don't stay aboard. The boat's anchored out there,
Right.
and then they'll come and go from it. They don't live on it, So, but then I do know the people who live in the Anchorage and live on their vessel year round out there. So
I'm assuming, but maybe shouldn't, that those vessels that do have the compost head, that you're aware of, either when they come in to moor, or that they have a long-term mooring agreement. You basically have identified which ones do have that.
correct. Yes, we ask them if they need a pump out. They let us know exactly, if they do need a pump out. We put them on the schedule. Just mind you, a lot of the Anchorage vessels we get them, they're on a schedule with us for the pump outs. But yes, any vessel that comes into the mooring field that has a compost head, they let us know. So, we know to, we have a list in the office. We know who has it, who doesn't.
So from my hearing from you, it sounds like pretty much for the record, we got a handle on that. There isn't any significant concern of vessels violating the overboard pump out regulations.
Correct. Yes. I feel like we have a very good handle of it. I haven't had any cases or scenarios in that. As of recent, we did have one problem, one guy in the Anchorage, but we've taken care of that, and we haven't had any issues
What was it?
issues since. He was just well, I shouldn't say we knew, but there was suspicion of him dumping overboard. But we were able to talk to him. We got on a good page with him, and then he's on a pump out schedule
Yeah.
right now, so.
So what I'm hearing from you, sir, is that we got a good handle on that, and that
Yes, sir.
really isn't an issue.
Absolutely.
If it occurs, we're addressing it.
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to cruisers.
Let's do it.
Okay, so, the last time we spoke, a lot of things have happened since then. Curtis and I met with our attorney, Nancy, and she gave us some good guidance on how to move forward. So we sent out an update to all of you, with notes from that. I will give you just a brief synopsis of what we learned, from that, and also from our subsequent meeting with the council. It was requested by Nancy that we go to the council, we actually ask permission to conduct the event, just so that they would be aware of it and know what was going on. So as a result of the meeting with the attorney and with the council, we have approval to move forward. We cannot do a raffle because we are not a nonprofit, because we are affiliated with the town, but we can do a drawing. So as long as everyone has a chance to win, we can give everybody one ticket for this drawing. We may ask for donations, so if people would like to provide a monetary donation, not necessarily in exchange for their ticket, but they would like to support future mooring field events, they could certainly contribute to us on site. We are allowed to go ask individuals and businesses for monetary support for this event.
Yes.
It will not be tax deductible, but we can recognize them and thank them for their efforts as part of our communication. Let's see, what am I missing, other big things? Those are kind of, if we are, pardon me? Permit, yes, we can talk about that in a second. If we do not find the funding to support the event, it was approved by the council that they would provide us with, $2,000 or so to support the event if we find that we cannot get that support from the community. I feel pretty good that we're going to be able to do that, because we do want to make this event self-funding, and not rely on the town to support it. And we also, if we can, get some donations on site, and any additional money that we raise could come back to the town to support future
Correct.
mooring field events.
And Beach Talk Radio, Ed Ryan, helped us out yesterday. I talked about the event at the end of the meeting. He also, kind of, alluded to us that we were going to seek sponsorship for the town and for people to help us out and that kind of thing. So big thanks to Ed on that.
Right, and Ed has offered to support us with a $500 contribution, and if we are interested, he can broadcast live. He doesn't have to, or he could just play music for us, and he doesn't have to do that either, but he has offered those services. So as we continue our planning, we can consider what might be helpful there, but we at least have $500 to start with. Okay, so.
Could I just add just one,
Yes, you
it was a great synopsis, but I would just say that if the town does have to help, it really would be not the town general fund, it would be
Right.
the mooring fund,
Right.
mooring field fund, which is supported by the fees that are charged by those who utilize the mooring field.
Exactly.
And in essence, a marketing and promotional expense, just to further for lack of a better term, the business enterprise.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. I mean, Nancy made a lot of points that this event is a promotional event.
Correct.
It is to market the mooring field. It
Yes.
is to celebrate the mooring field, so it's appropriate for the money to come from that budget. So we have a lot of things ahead of us. I will mention one other thing, because I do want to toss out some dates to you all before we leave today, but we can hold subcommittee meetings as long as we have them here. They do not necessarily have to be broadcast to the public, but we will notice them so that people can attend if they would like to. We will take notes, and according to Amy, it will be recorded, but we are not required to broadcast it. But I know we're gonna need some additional touch bases with this group, whoever wants to be deeply involved, just to make sure that we've got all of our ducks in a row, because we have about 5 weeks. So, chop chop.
Not
Yeah.
rocket science,
Oh,
we can
yeah.
do it.
We can do it. Okay, so Jennifer, you brought up permitting. I know that Sam has submitted the permit. Well, he's provided the information for the permit, so where are we with
I
that, Sam?
provided the information, I believe we got the okay from town as long as the permit is completed.
It has to go before the council on the 7th, I
Oh, it does
believe.
have to go one more time?
Don't, so I got clarification.
doesn't?
Since we got approval,
Okay,
the permit does not have
Okay.
to go through, so, and I'm almost positive on that, but I'll get 100% clarification, hopefully this week on that, so,
and do we pay anything for our permitting?
yes, we do.
And what is that expense?
So
do you
that's
know?
gonna be the firefighter expense, I believe, the fire department
Okay.
expense, sorry.
And I think we've completed everything on the permit, except Lee CLC, and that's in the process. The last communication I had with Tracy Rusky with the town was that was being okayed. I haven't got the final approval, but when I do, I'll send it to Curtis.
So
and-
she came back to us saying that we needed to submit a more detailed timeline, correct?
I think we did that.
Okay.
I think I did that
So-
last week.
So now it's in, so we send it back, so now we are just waiting for her approval on her end.
Yeah.
And
And
I
I
think
think
that's the
anything-
last
yeah.
step we need.
And I think anything else, any other information I'll have, or I'll contact you,
Yeah,
and I'll try to
absolutely.
finalize that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I meant to get an update from,
From Tracy?
Tracy this morning.
I
but
did too. I didn't run into her, but I'll try to run into her after this meeting.
Roger.
I have a question in regards to the permit. I just wanted to, after going to the grand opening of the library, I ran into many other organizations, nonprofits, and so we have more people that are
Interested,
interested.
okay.
And for example, I just got a call from the Matanzas Bay Preserve. And they want a table. So my concern is I did do a site plan. It's not professional.
10 pop-ups, right? 10 pop-ups?
Well, that's what I'm
Okay.
wondering, as if we could add more. I believe, that's, we
Wow.
would have to kind of go over the stage, and I know that.
Which is
some-
fine.
Okay.
If we don't need to, as long as we can, tear it down by the time the band needs to use it.
Right, that's what I was hoping, because I'd hate to say no. I was
Yeah.
just kind of putting the word out to all these people, and they all want to participate, so I don't want to have to pick and choose.
Do we have to resubmit the permits?
How many did you
That's
put
my
in the
question.
permit?
We put in 10,
That's my question.
10 pop-ups
Okay.
in
So do you think we
the
can
permit.
keep it to 10 based on the
have
inquiries that
to-
you're having?
Yeah, I think so. Let's keep it 10.
And you saw that Counselor Woodson suggested we have Friends of Lovers Key.
Yeah, I already had that, but I haven't heard back.
Okay, and the organization that Councilman Stafford requested, do you remember what that was? It was kind of a funky name.
Yeah, I'll text him and ask.
Okay, no, yeah, I can get you more information, Jennifer, I
Okay.
have that.
Jennifer, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, John.
Jennifer, I can get you the answer on Friends and Lovers Key very quickly.
Okay.
I'll have them contact you. One of the questions that they had was, how many total attendees do we expect? And ratio between how many of those would be coming from mooring balls as opposed to being local boating residents? And then in addition to that, the expected attendance that has no affiliation with each. Do we have any projected numbers on that? Can I say to them, there's going to be, for example, maybe 60 attendees from mooring balls, maybe 60 from local boating residents, maybe another 40, 50 from neither.
You hit
that
it.
would be
I think I put on the permit 150 to 200, but there's gonna be people
I think we're
mingling
gonna
and
have,
walking.
I mean, if we think that there are 50 boats, at that time, and we are projecting that,
Two or
there
three
could be
people.
4 from each, yeah, I mean,
I think the
100
numbers
to
between
250.
40 and 60 for the boaters in the mooring field would be
just
pretty accurate.
for the boats or for the people that they bring? Because we said we would give a complimentary meal to up to 4 people. Do you think we'll get a couple people from each boat?
I
think
have a
so.
comment on that. I have a question before you even start. When people register with DACWA and they register, do they say the number of people that are on their boat?
No,
That
no.
would have been helpful.
No. And I got a lot of solo boaters that come in
okay.
too, with a lot of couple, it's normally couples, you know what I mean? And then, but
And
they
as far as people
also,
doing 4 people, it's really hard for them to know a lot of people around here.
Correct.
It's gonna be probably the one or two, or maybe occasional four on
The
that.
biggest, go ahead.
So sorry, I would think that, you know, before we actually say we'll give you 4 per boat, I think we really need to start from ground zero and find out who's gonna be participating and, if the restaurants are gonna be giving us,
Right.
a break. We need to start there and then we'll know how many we can actually give out.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
I mean, I think we need to explore with the restaurants, what might they be willing to do, and say, look, we could have between 100 and 200 meals, given boaters, given the people that we want to invite to celebrate, you know, the nonprofits and the staff, and then just see, and then go back to them once we have a better idea and confirm that number. And the nonprofit's Power Squadron, something Power Squadron.
I have so I've been in touch with the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I will be confirming with them today, with Dan Eaton over there, that he can have a 10 by 10 pop-up.
Oh, well, so that doesn't, the 6 foot, I'd have to look over it, but not, we have shade, so I would suggest that we just do the 6
Tables.
foot tables, so
Okay.
we already have that shade, because if you start adding
So-
people with tents, then you're losing feet.
Okay, so that was on our permit, but that's okay, because if they don't have a 10 by 10, I think I put down 10 by 10 pop-ups.
Yep.
Uh,
What I've
over
been
there.
doing is letting them know that the town will supply a 6 foot table for them with, 2 chairs per table.
And we supply that?
We're gonna supply that.
Okay.
Yes.
I will get back to the Coast Guard Auxiliary guy and say,
Now, Dan usually
pop-up.
sends, a volunteer for the MRF pop-up, but if they wanna do their own table, they're more than welcome to. But I had them as part of MRF, but whatever Dan wants to do.
And I will be giving tables for us for, at Bay Oaks.
okay, that's great.
Those are the
And
tables
And
we're
the
gonna be
site plan
providing.
that I did had, the tables in an L shape with, 2 longer tables with chairs for people to sit and eat if they wanted to sit in the park area.
No pop-ups makes it so much better. It'd be so much easier to get around. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell, the Coast Guard Auxiliary, they just need to bring their supplies, that we will provide a table and chair. There will not be a pop-up, but we do have the canvas shade.
Auxiliary often supplies their own table, but
If
So-
you also might want to let them know that, they should at least be there by 12:30.
I told them that we're preparing, they can come anytime 2 hours early, but try to make it at least a half hour early, and they need to be cleared out within 30 minutes.
Yeah, do we need to do anything about loading, unloading? I mean, can people stop in that area, or do we need to ask, you know, for that lot behind Wahoo Willie's, if people can park there? I'm just wondering if we need to
Oh,
think about
parking.
parking.
A lot behind, well, yeah.
That's paid parking.
I know.
Or under the bridge, we can probably
Oh, okay.
guide people to go ahead and most of the local organizations, I'm sure, have a parking, permit, but if
Okay.
not, we'll just, let them know that the parking is underneath the bridge. They have something larger to unload, they can probably pull right up
Right.
and then quickly.
And we can
move
help
out.
them. I mean,
Yeah, of
we'll-
course,
we'll be
we'll
there.
help people.
Yeah.
I remember the town was really good at that last one. Everyone came together and helped each other.
And maybe the parking attendant, if they know it's snug, will give us a 5-minute load and unload.
So Jennifer, do you wanna go through the organizations quickly that you're thinking about having attending, just so we have that?
Yeah, I didn't bring that list or
Okay.
my site plan, but I can just say
Yeah.
MRF. Okay, so we've got ours, Anchorage, MRF, the Women's Club, the Friends of Matanzas Past Preserve, I know.
Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Coast Guard,
Captains?
the, Captains for Clean Water, and then the Garden Club, and I can't remember who else. I'm sorry, but
That's okay.
I'll make sure we have 10. If not, then we'll just, use the table for something else.
Okay. Curtis, will we have some sort of an AAC handout of some sort, just to talk about what, what the mooring field does? Will you prepare anything like that, or how would we?
Absolutely, I can. That's not a problem. I plan on talking at the event and thanking everybody. I'll explain to them what the mooring field does. I'll run over, what you have to do to come into the mooring field and whatever else you would like me to talk about. I will do.
So do we want to have a sound system then? Do we want people, in addition to just manning their tables, to be able to have a few minutes at a mic and just introduce their organization?
I think that is something we discussed. I think that would be nice.
Okay,
thing to
all right.
do.
So I think Ed would be happy to, utilize his sound system.
Because
for us.
that will, because I think that will kind of
It makes it a
close
thing.
the gap, right?
Yeah.
Between, we'll have stuff going on. They can talk while, along with everybody kind of mingling and
Yeah.
seeing all the,
Ed,
all the
Ed
tables
has the
and events.
capability of providing that.
Yes, he
and,
does.
Yeah.
and that's what I was
I would
going to
say-
mention.
Question.
I would say, not, in regards to, Beach Talk Radio, that he doesn't broadcast, but plays some
Yeah.
music just to make it a little bit
Background
more,
music, little
yeah.
festive, and then allow people,
To
we
come
can
up and
schedule
discuss.
people to come up and say their piece for 5 or 10 minutes, just give an overview, so it feels more like what they did at the sand sculpting festival when they
Exactly.
did those things. Yes, Ted,
Does AAC have a table?
we'll be with
The
Mark, right?
Anchorage,
Yeah.
the Anchorage is gonna be the first one, because
Yeah,
that's when we
that
give
we have a
out
table,
the-
okay.
yeah.
And with
And
that,
they can have it, we'll have a town tent for Anchorage, right?
okay, we should have a
Yes,
pop-up.
yes.
Do we have
I'll
one?
get. I'll see if we can.
What
It
we
shouldn't
would
be a
like-
problem for me to get a
What
table.
we've had in the past is we've had a pop-up and we've had at least 2 6-foot tables. Because, and the first one, the most visible is gonna be the registration.
One
And
sideways and one this way.
just very visible, and I do have a laminating machine, so I will do a 8.5 by 11 that just says in big letters,
I
registration.
wanna come to your house, you have a laminating machine?
I have a
Come
laminating
on.
machine,
I
so
do too.
I would laminate
Other
everything.
stuff. So I'll laminate a registration, and also, what else was I gonna laminate? I'll laminate the permit, so in case it's raining or something, and
I'm coming to your house.
you can laminate anything, anytime.
Sweet.
Jennifer.
And as far as, sorry, one more
I'm
thing,
sorry,
one more
Sam.
thing,
No,
John.
go
ahead.
As far as, Beach Talk Radio, we'll get to that later, but when we go ask people to donate, for our non-drawing,
Right.
for our giveaway.
Drawing.
For our giveaway, for our
Mhm.
drawing, for our giveaway, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, we'll have something that we can hand them.
We will announce who they are. This is Matanzas Restaurant, they're giving a free dinner for 2 up to $50. They're located here, they have dockage,
Mhm.
Dock Fords is,
Yeah.
they have dockage, they, boater friendly. So when we go around and collect all these, we can tell people, we're gonna announce you, we're gonna give your location, Junkanoo has dockage, they have, what they have and what they're providing.
Yeah.
And for the day passes for Margaritaville and Pink Shell, we'll have to build those up if we can get those. Those would be ones.
John,
Jennifer, I don't know if you know or not, but already folk, Friends of Lover's Key has donated a lot of,
Mhm.
okay.
Well,
it-
we'll get that, yeah.
Yeah, but my point is, if they contact you with a go, no-go in the next 48 hours, and they say go, is there a space for them? Is there something being held for them?
I didn't have them on the list, I just saw that email, so I will make it happen, of course.
Yeah.
All right, good. I just want to tell them that if they commit within 48 hours, they can do it.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
of course.
I mean, it seems like our vendor list is getting big, and with the
Yeah.
permitting that we already have, so we need to make sure we're staying in line with that.
Yeah.
But if
Informational
any-
boost, yeah.
Yes,
Not
correct.
So if we keep it to 10,
so-
and does that include us?
Correct.
That
But if-
includes us.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But just so, maybe we could,
Do we wanna?
And
If-
Jennifer
if we
will-
get too
Jennifer will
many-
keep the tabs on that?
I will take the reins on that and then also be there to greet and to position where
Yeah.
everyone is.
Yeah.
I will take care of that.
Okay.
But again, back to my point, is folk one of those
Yeah,
10 being held?
I will
All right,
make sure.
excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
Because if anything, we might have to like split up the table.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
something like
Exactly.
Yeah,
that,
I
you
know
know.
that, the garden club, I believe, is
Yeah.
gonna share a table with Turtle Time, so.
Okay.
Yeah, though, we can, I mean, 6 foot is pretty large, and
Yeah.
a lot of the times these people don't have a lot. In fact, the women's club is just gonna be doing
The sign up for the photos?
no, the
Uh,
restaurant where they sell the.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
the
oh,
passports?
The
Passport,
passports.
yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have
So that
8-foot
doesn't take 6
tables, or you really like 6-foot tables?
I'm not sure.
This is
I
6
would
foot
have
here,
to
isn't it?
ask,
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah,
ask
this is
Frankie and the people, you know, Bayos and that kind of
Yeah.
thing, I don't
I
know,
mean,
but
it'd be
I got
easier to
word
split
that.
if we have 8-foot tables.
Well, 8, 16,
Yeah, but-
24, no, actually, that wouldn't work going, that way,
Too
cause we
many?
have 30 feet, so,
Okay.
yeah, I'd say the 6
6
foot.
foot.
But we had to
8 foot
lit-
going the other way, but.
But keep in mind, we had to list the size of the tables on the
Okay.
permit, correct? I'm asking.
No,
Yes,
you said
that
10 by 10 pop-ups, so that wouldn't.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
So
think
we
I
all
said
right,
have,
that,
so
but-
we
all
have
right,
10 feet.
all right, so we
We
have
have
some,
100 feet to work with.
we have some room to.
Yeah.
get, all right.
But we really don't have
Did
100.
you give the site plan to, did you have to attach that, or Tracy
I think you
probably
did
attached that? Yeah.
Or she did, I think you
Yeah.
did that with her.
Mhm.
I just did the description.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So
Like,
let me-
again, like I said, I'll touch base with, Tracy, make sure we're, online with the permit. If there's anything we need to readdress or do extra,
Did you say 10,
I'll let both of you know.
6-foot tables is what was put on the permit?
10 by 10 pop-ups.
Okay, perfect.
So
That
we
covers
should come
it.
under that,
That
yeah.
covers.
Okay, so Jennifer, we're gonna put you as queen of the nonprofits, okay?
I like that.
There you go, you know, I hand out titles freely. Can we talk about supplies really quickly? So Curtis, you're going to help us with tables and chairs.
Correct.
We are going to need some laminated things, which Sam will be,
Laminated?
you know,
Yep.
doing.
I will
Um,
bring duct tape and zip ties.
Okay, that
Ooh, that doesn't
seems,
sound
seems a
good.
little creepy.
What kind of party is this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can fix anything with duct tape,
You
right?
can,
You're
and if you
going to-
can't, the zip tie will do it.
we will need drawing tickets.
Now,
Yes.
we're gonna need single tickets, and we're gonna need double tickets. The drawing tickets will be double tickets, and I don't know, we used to have those in stock with the town. I don't know if they had
We
those
can-
for a different event.
Yeah.
And the single tickets, we're gonna need
For the
for
meals.
the meals.
Right.
And then,
Okay.
yeah, I think there's, under drawings, because we're not 503C1, the tickets have to have an attachment to it.
Yeah, so that would be the double ticket.
double
that we
ticket.
break off, yeah.
We also need a small container
For
to shake up
donations.
for
Oh.
the tickets, for the drawing,
Okay.
where we put the extra one,
Yeah.
give them one, put the extra one in there. I
And-
had a really nice one, but.
And
it's gone.
container for donations as well. And we need to write some rules, so I will take care of that. I've written rules for drawings before.
And the
I'll
containers on those should be see-through.
See through, yep,
Yes.
okay, so just a couple of fish bowls.
Yeah.
So we don't sell the tickets.
Right, so
Right.
everybody who comes up is entitled to a ticket, and then we can also just
That will
let
be
them
every
know that
occupant of the boat, or just one per boat?
one per person, I would say.
I'd say one per person, and if we get 50 or 60 people from the boats, or even 70 people from the boats, we're gonna have enough prizes that after their name is drawn, the ticket, it used to go back in, or no, I don't think it went back in. Once we start taking these names out, almost everybody is gonna end up with
Well,
something.
and remember, this is for
A
the
lot of people.
public too. We have to let the public be part
Correct.
of the drawing.
Correct.
So we can't just be for the boaters.
Oh, so
Yes.
everybody that walks up gets a ticket?
Everybody that walks up gets a ticket.
Oh,
Now,
good.
if the rules say you must be present to win, that's a whole,
Okay, would
other
you like
thing.
another laminate to pick up your drawing ticket here?
Who's gonna be in charge of?
How are you gonna do just one per person though? Everybody's gonna keep walking up for them. We'll
I-
put Ted in charge, he's
we
good
will
at that.
stamp their hand once they get a
Yeah,
ticket.
yeah,
we
there,
go.
there you go.
Okay.
That's not a
All right,
bad.
so I will write rules, so before the next time we come, we can see exactly what we need to do, and we'll make sure that Nancy sees them too.
And, just so y'all know, I have ordered the floats already.
Great.
Oh, good, the keychains?
Yes.
Excellent.
Who's gonna be in charge of the drawing? Is there gonna be one person?
Okay.
You-
The chairman's always in
Apparently,
charge
I'm in
of
charge
all the
drawing.
important
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. Did not know that was me, but
And,
okay.
and
Well,
also
as far as announcing it.
in charge of the drawing as well as the handing out of the prizes?
Yes, I can do that.
I'll help you hand
Yeah.
out the prices.
Oh, and so we're only gonna give as many tickets as prizes that we have?
No, everybody who comes up will get a ticket, so I mean, it's, everybody has the opportunity to win without
So if we have
spending.
10 prizes,
Then
then
we're
we do
gonna pull
10.
Oh, yes, we'll
10
pull it,
tickets.
yes, yes,
Yes,
until we
correct,
give them away.
Right.
You know, there may be some people who aren't there, and so we're not gonna chase them down. Okay, we got most of our supplies here. Let's talk about who wants to contact, the restaurants to see what they might be interested in providing.
So that we can take around with us. You can change that, but if you don't want to change it, I can hand them out right now.
Well, I think
Once you read that over.
I think we might wanna update this just
And
a little bit.
If y'all are visiting, whoever it is, I know it's kinda sticky where we can't, two members can't go together, that kind of thing, right? So, whoever's going to that, I can accompany them. If you would like, reach out to me and I will.
Yeah,
Two members can go together?
no, apparently not, because that would be sunshiny.
Sunshine Law.
And
But-
another thing
But,
for
a member and
a staff person,
a staff
Correct.
person?
yeah.
What about a
Liaison.
member and a volunteers like my wife?
Yeah, I think that would be
Yeah, I
fine.
think that's just fine.
We just need to make sure that we, are above board and.
Sure,
uh,
yeah.
You know, tell them what we're looking for, and any monetary donation that we get needs to be a check written out to the town of Fort Myers Beach.
Yes,
So no cash. We can accept cash donations at the event because we
Correct.
will be there monitoring it, but we can't accept cash for those other types of donations.
So, I would expect maybe Sam or yourself will create a sheet that a script
Yeah.
that we put in front of them.
Yep, and.
That's kind of what this is supposed to be, but maybe we'll refine that for our next meeting, which should be
Next
pretty,
week,
pretty.
yeah.
That way, we can all, and also, we need to assign the people we're gonna solicit, so they don't get 4 people walking into, Margaritaville
Correct.
asking for the same thing. And hopefully, somebody the vendors or the
So
people
are
that
we
are gonna
gonna be
donate.
soliciting the restaurants to give us money or actual food coupons?
Usually, what they have done in the past is like a $50 gift certificate, or whatever they're
No,
willing
we're
to
talking
give.
No, I'm
about the
talking about
meals.
to
Let's talk
feed.
about
Oh,
the
the
meals.
meals, yeah,
So
sorry.
how did we work the meals in your
So,
previous
The
lifetime,
meals
Sam?
before were a lot different. What we did is, we took the money from the raffle and we paid for the meals. What we did is we gave out, I think, $10. So we'll give out tickets, 10 tickets. And I suggest that we keep track of the tickets from the number we start to the end. Give out the tickets, let's say it's 10 tickets. We need to provide the lowest price thing on the menu, which might be a sandwich at Snug for $9 plus a soft drink. That's $11, whatever it is. Let's say it's $10. We'll give each of the voters $10 in tickets.
Well, how about one ticket equals $10 rather than 10 tickets?
We could do that.
What?
And that way, see, we make out better like that. No, we don't make out better like that. If we give them 10 tickets, what's gonna happen is, we're not paying the restaurant until after the event. The restaurant will turn in their tickets for the money, and chances are, some of these tickets are never gonna get redeemed. Out of the 10 tickets, somebody just had a beer, so that's only 3 tickets. So that's gonna be a better way
Or-
to
I
keep
don't-
our expenses down.
I understand that, but I don't think restaurants have the time
Right.
to do that.
And nothing's less than $10,
Yeah,
or
I-
whatever.
So what I would suggest is we talk to Nervous Nellies and we talk to Peter at Snug and say, look, we think we think we're gonna have high-end 150 meals. What could you do to say, here's a menu item that I will allow for this event, and it's going to cost you X amount for this meal, and either they will say, I would like to give you, 50 of those meals for free, you will pay for 100 of them, I would suggest that we kind of maybe take that tack, and so then we can give the person one ticket that guarantees them that meal. If they want something else, that's on them, but they get that menu item. Would
Right,
that
and they
work?
can upgrade, and they
Yes,
can get
exactly,
credit
they
for their
can-
ticket.
Right, exactly. So this gives you
More of a
$10 or
coupon.
$15 toward whatever
And
that the
each
restaurant
ticket will
agrees.
be a certain amount, and just give one
Exactly.
ticket out. Okay,
Does
that's
that
gonna
make
be a lot
sense? Does
easier.
that sound good?
That does, I do encourage you to ask them what works for them.
Yes, exactly, yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, here's something that we're thinking about. We're thinking it might be 150 meals. What
What would work best for them
Yeah.
to exchange or keep track of,
Right,
or
right.
make this work?
Yeah, I owned a restaurant that, it just seems like it could, the tickets could get, lost or.
Do they even have an $8 sandwich these days? I'm not sure if they do.
I was just gonna offer a suggestion, I like everything I'm hearing. I'm just thinking too, in terms of low-hanging fruit, Curtis, we have probably 5 to 10 vendors who've done work for the town in a marine, sort of dynamic. We've got contractors who've done renourishment, we've got consultants, we've got contractors who've done, debris removal, we've got contractors who've done mooring field servicing. Those folks, if they wanted to be a sponsor of the event, then we could use those funds just to pay the restaurant to
Right.
supply the meals.
Right,
And then the restaurant, I mean, if they want to donate the meals, that's great, but I would think to have that nice fund to work with. And then if you have money left in the fund, you could go buy prizes to donate for the raffle as well from local businesses.
Drawing.
Instead of drawing, sorry, yeah. But yeah, I think there's probably 4 or 5 local entaties who would probably have a natural instinct to sponsor the event because of the work they do with the community and the town.
Yeah, Cubanos, the food truck was at the library, and they were very popular.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a way to underwrite the cost of those
Meals.
meals, and I think you know who some of these vendors are. And I'm sure
Yes.
if it was a community event like the,
We asked them for $250.
I'd go a
Each.
little, yeah, some,
About
depending on,
500, okay.
yeah, some of the work that
Yeah.
they've done for the community, they've done very well, so I think they could, if they wanted to,
Right.
obviously be all friendly and.
Is it appropriate for Curtis to make that
I,
ask?
I
or-
thought that the town attorney, based upon your conversation, said it was okay for
Okay.
Curtis to do that. I wasn't in that meeting though, did you get that sense? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I did,
So
I
if you
did.
feel comfortable doing that,
Yeah, that's fine. I can reach out to our contractors. I just need the list of exactly who you want me. I know the debris people, some of the other stuff you mentioned.
You
Vice
could probably,
Mayor.
yeah, Chad might have some ideas for you
Okay.
too, yeah.
debris, beach renourishment, yeah.
Consultants, yeah.
Consultants, contractors, people that help us
Right.
do the work in the town and stuff like
So we've
that.
got
In,
five,
in the marine arena.
Yeah.
Marine,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
correct, yeah, sorry, apologies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I knew
okay.
you meant.
Yeah, yeah.
so we have $500 from BTR, if we could get another 2,500 from the,
What about FPL
So
or
listen,
FDOT?
Not so much FDOT, but FP&L would certainly be worth asking, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
then that would definitely be able to underwrite whatever meals.
Exactly,
That we
solve
need.
all your problems.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you,
So,
thank you, Jim.
just let me throw this out here. Ed Ryan, he just sent me an email.
He's watching.
Yes, correct, he is watching.
And what did Ed say?
So he said, here's how I can help if need. I can make a Facebook post that the committee is looking for 3 additional sponsors in addition to Beach Talk Radio at 500 to help cover the cost once you know the budget you'll need. What I would need to share in the post, what they get for
Sure,
their sponsorship, how much, who the check is made out to,
Yeah.
and where the check is mailed.
okay.
So that's easy stuff. I can answer him. So I don't know if that's, he's
Yeah.
willing to help us promote this thing if need be.
Absolutely.
But I think if we use him, I think we're within regulation and.
Yeah, I
Not-
mean, I like Vice Mayor Adderholt's suggestion about contacting, first of all, the contractors who
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
supported the town and done something for the town. This would be a way to recognize them. We could certainly recognize them from the stage when we do our spiel and when we do our drawings. So, I mean, I would like to do that first, I think, and then see if we need to make up some additional dollars, if that sounds good to everybody.
Mhm.
I mean, they have skin in the game, and it would be nice. for them
And sometimes
to-
these, as you know, Chris, in your line of work, some of these folks are looking for opportunities to give back to the community, and they would see it as a positive opportunity to,
How much are we looking, to raise?
I think if we had
to pay for
$3,000, we
all
would be golden.
And how many do you think we could feed with 3,000?
Oh, I think 200.
Question. In the past, the food has been for the people in the field. We didn't buy food for everybody in the
No,
community.
no, this is just going to be for the boaters plus the people that we talked about inviting, like the staff. So
Yeah.
our
So like
committee, the
Sam.
council.
Right.
My
The
staff-
drawing, the
Profits.
drawing will be everybody, just because we
Right.
can't do gambling.
Yeah. And those will be gifts from people in the town.
Right.
Right.
And the food, I still don't quite understand.
The food, we're gonna give everybody, let's just say, for example, we're gonna give everybody one ticket that's worth $10, and if they have a special menu item, that's great, for
Everybody-
the day.
Yeah, just
The
so we're
boaters.
clear
Okay.
on
They'll
that,
put
it's
it
just the
towards- Thank you.
boaters, not everybody, it's the
Right.
boaters that are getting the
Thank you.
tickets.
Right.
Got it.
They'll put it
yes.
towards their bill.
Yeah.
Wait, just the boaters are getting the tickets?
Well,
not
Yeah.
For the
nonprofits?
meal.
And the
meal,
VIP.
yeah,
So yeah, I put together the list of people that we would invite to this event.
Oh, good. Who do you got?
Just, based on what we talked about before. So it'd be the boaters, up to 4 people per mooring ball. It'd be our committee and a guest. It would be the MRF committee and a guest, council members.
The MRF committee?
I think so. I mean, we've done joint MRF
Joint
things.
work with
In-
them.
Okay,
You don't think we should?
they're not really a
allow-
co-sponsor or anything.
No.
No,
I'll tell you who we've done in the past, and then maybe we can add
Okay,
to it.
okay.
We've done, the members of us, all the members of council,
Yep,
Curtis,
yep,
Andy, Frankie, and Chad.
yep. And I was thinking Nicole and
And
Patty.
Nicole. Well, Patty,
Yeah, can I get my team?
Yes.
So
and
Patty,
Yeah, all your
Bobby,
guys, 'cause
and,
they're gonna
and
help set
Rob.
up.
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Curtis and plus two-
Staff.
Plus staff.
Yep. And we said
Um,
the booth volunteers.
I think so, I think at least 2 people per, so that would be, well, yeah, so
20,
excluding the Anchorage, it would be, yeah, 20.
20.
And so the only other people that I had were the MRF committee, and, if we feel strongly that we don't invite them, that's fine. I mean, there will be some people from the MRF committee there. No? Just you?
Probably, but
Okay.
no, I take that back. No, there is gonna be one person doing the MRF, pop-up, because I'm gonna be helping
Yeah.
with whatever you all
I,
need.
I think we are limited to who has a booth.
Okay.
Otherwise, we start
Gotcha.
inviting certain communities, then I think we need to invite all the
Okay.
communities.
All right.
And then, Chris, can you send an email to council and,
Yes, I
And
w- I
the-
would like to create
Telling
some
them
sort
we'll
of
have a list.
communication and get that sent to the people that we're inviting so that they know about the event. I mean, what I would like to do is create a couple of different communication lines. One, inviting these special people and letting them know what we're doing. One for the boaters, because we want them to know that they're getting this complimentary meal and what's going on. And then one that's more general public. And then I'll work with Nicole, I'll work with BTR to, send out that
And then maybe
information
we-
once it's reviewed and approved.
Maybe we can, create like a little flyer or something I can put out down at the dinghy dock on my trailer by the restrooms,
Yeah.
Matanzas and the
yeah.
restaurants, we could probably, they'll put them up in there.
and even including the name of the band and when the band plays too.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can laminate that for you, cause
Yeah.
it's gonna need.
Yeah.
There we go, Sam, that's why I
Oh,
like
one more
to hear.
person for the, is the chamber helping us to promote this?
I think they will. I mean, I will provide it to them.
If they
They'll put
are,
it in their newsletter.
Maybe,
Like daylight.
Oh, the
maybe do
chamber.
Jackie also, even
Yeah.
though.
The
she'll-
chamber's gonna be there too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, she'll be set up.
They're- yeah.
Okay.
They have a great email.
Put her on the
Yeah,
list.
they'll
List,
put it
yeah,
in their
yeah.
chamber chatter.
One more thing, I did just get a text from Ed with Beach Talk Radio, and he said so maybe I can be assigned for these day passes for Margaritaville
Okay.
and Pink Shell. And the one thing that he offered to do is, if we get these day passes, he's the MC of the whole,
Mhm.
he will do a nice promo announcement of you know, those resorts. And he probably would do the other announcements too for the restaurants and other contributors that we have.
You wanna do that?
Sure. So are we gonna assign these today, or are we gonna do that the next meeting?
Well,
And that way everybody can think about all the different merchants and we can make sure that we don't double up.
John, why don't you talk through what you've already got? Because I know that you've already gotten some things from Friends of Lovers Key, and I think you've made some other inquiries, so maybe we can level set on that.
Friends of Lovers Key, I've approached and they've donated. Everything beyond that was just simply suggestions
Okay.
that I know that have supported other events.
Okay?
I haven't approached them or solicited any support, but I certainly am able to and willing to help on that.
So what do we think we need to do right now? I think talking to the restaurants, first of all, is pretty important. I would do it, but I have a kind of a heavy meeting schedule this week, so is there anybody else who feels comfortable having that conversation with, like, Nervous Nellies and Snug Harbor / Wahoo Willie's? Anyone?
This is food, not
Mueller?
restaurant.
This is the food, so talking to the restaurant about what would you be interested in doing, how
Okay.
could we make it work for you?
Okay.
Yes, I will accompany whoever wants to go and do this.
Well,
If I could write you a script?
I have a connection with the people at Snug Harbor and Wahoo Willie's. I'm not sure about Nervous Nellies, so maybe I could
Start with them?
take that on and then have a report for our next meeting
Okay.
and see, I guess what I need to find out is what dollar amount would get somebody a basic meal.
Yeah.
And whether they're willing to, for every 2 that we buy, contribute 1, or, you know, whatever.
Just to, you know,
They
what would,
wanna-
what would work for you? We think
Yes.
we're gonna have 150
And we're hoping you get
meals
a lot of,
top.
and hope we get a lot of drink business for you
Yes,
also.
exactly.
So I think the main goal when we seek out these sponsors, right? We need to get food taken care of first. That's gonna be
Right,
the
exactly.
big number one, right? That's what we need to seek
Yep.
out for first, correct? And then we can go just get other
Another
sponsors.
Yes, ma'am?
Also, if you're going to each restaurant, I think we should have a plan on what we expect. Because if, say, for example, Nervous Nelly says, okay, we'll give out 50 meal coupons, but it can only be used from 1 to 3. And then another restaurant gives us coupons and,
Can
you
have
know,
to
I
be
think we
Yeah.
just
coordinated.
have an idea of exactly. you
But maybe
know,
we start with Wahoo and Snug, since there are two things that are right there, and if maybe we get everything taken care of, maybe next year when we do it, we do a different restaurant,
I think that we should kind of look for one restaurant to provide the food,
okay?
you know? This is just ideas, you know? I mean,
Snug
we could
probably has the
also
most
split
capacity.
it, we could also split it up between the two, then, you know, but that's kind of makes it kind of weird,
I
too.
agree. I
Okay.
agree.
So
I
I
can
think,
approach Snug and Wahoo, well,
They're the same
so
person.
Snug, it is the same person. So Snug has, this was my next point, is are we gonna have some segregated tables that are set, and they are kind of set up for serving right there. They have that
Right.
extra section right there that maybe they would kind of set aside for
I
us
think that'd be great.
for that time. And fortunately, we're not right during the middle of lunch, although they don't really have a lunch
Yeah.
or a dinner time, but we're kind of after the main lunch.
One
but
to-
that's like the sponsorship we're looking for them.
Yeah.
If they can provide us with some tables to sit down, then,
Right,
you know what I mean?
That's just a conversation with them when you approach them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I will set something up where me and Curtis will, at your convenience, we'll go down there and talk to
I would
Mary and
also,
Nick.
if, when you discuss this or, with the restaurant, that, let them know that we're also gonna be providing seating in the Bayside Park, so if they didn't wanna give out so much of their seating,
I'm thinking that, if you know the layout over there, they have just that one section that
Mhm.
borders the
Yeah.
park there.
Yeah.
That has like 4 or 5 tables there, that would just be easier, there, you know, that we could, you know, at least have something invading their space a little bit there. And,
It's actually a pretty good amount of seats right there.
yeah, and if they're not super crowded, we can just expand all the way in as far as we need to go.
okay.
But at least we can have maybe some of them designated, like
Mhm.
4 or 5 designated, so if they do fill up, we still have a little section there.
Okay. So I think that is job one. If we can get that done this
Okay.
week, and we can talk about it next week, and so we know exactly how much money we need to raise. In the meantime, if Curtis can have conversations with his, vendors, and to see what they might be willing to do, then we can make decisions on who else we need to approach next week.
And I'd be very willing to be active with that.
Perfect.
And then who's gonna be in charge of the prizes?
Uh,
Or getting the
Why don't we
prizes?
talk about that next week,
Okay.
and, we'll talk about what we have and your suggestions. Maybe you can send your suggestions to Curtis. I don't think he sent it to us. I was looking back through
Yeah.
emails. I thought you had provided that, but I don't
I
remember
did,
seeing it.
I would like, I think I actually sent 2 versions to him
Okay,
that, I thought were pretty comprehensive.
Okay. and then we can divvy those up.
Yeah,
Yep, and I've got some suggestions for
Yeah.
all the different.
Word.
What I would like to do is throw out some dates
Okay.
for subsequent subcommittee meetings, to make sure that they work for whoever wants to attend those. Can people attend next Wednesday, April 2nd at 10 a.m.?
and that would be here.
Yes, that'd be here. I've already cleared these with Amy, so this room is available. Yes, no?
No, I have a heavy workload.
Okay.
Next week, and family communities.
Okay, so April 3rd would not work for you either?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so Jennifer, if we met, you've kind of got the nonprofits under control,
got
you
that.
feel?
Yep.
So would April 2nd work?
I don't, family in town, I won't be available.
Okay. No, you won't, okay.
I'm available
guys?
April 2nd.
Can I see you next Wednesday at 10, Samuel?
Yes, I'm pretty sure, let me double check that one.
It's Wednesday, April 2nd. Yeah, I'm available.
Okay.
What date is our Anchorage committee?
Our next Anchorage committee meeting isn't until April
20
28th.
Yeah,
So it's the day after our event.
Oh,
April 2nd at 10 a.m., right
Okay.
here.
And how about April 10th at 1 p.m.? That is the following Thursday.
Probably need to do one more before the actual event too, right?
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I've got several dates here, one for each week.
We'll be seeing each other a lot this month.
I can do,
April 10th, 1 p.m.?
1 p.m.
Okay. And what about April 16th at 9 a.m.?
no, there's a MRF meeting on the 10th of April. I don't know if you're gonna make it
Yes,
there.
and that's why we are going at 1, because hopefully you guys would be done, right?
Yeah.
Then if anything, I can kind of see if maybe we can use the Public Works table too, because I don't know if it just has to be in a town,
Right,
but if it needs to be recorded, then
yeah.
it has to be in here
April
too as well,
16th
so.
at what time?
9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
And
Okay.
then the 10th.
And while
do
you've got your
need
calendar
me?
up,
I
Uh,
can be here for the 10th
That, it
since I'm
would be
already
great
gonna
if you
be
could, and
here.
we could talk quickly about
Okay.
the nonprofits. Okay, so we've got April 2nd at 10, April 10th at 1, and April 16th at 9.
Okay.
and Chris, while you got your calendar out,
Yes?
April 21st is the last town council meeting before the event.
Okay?
Would you like to go and do the
Sure.
committee reports and maybe just do a final, try to get everybody
Yep, we can do that.
to show up?
And I will get complete confirmation on the permit.
Okay.
Make sure we don't have to present that,
Okay.
which I don't
So-
believe we do. And,
All right,
So we're not gonna solicit any of these things before our next meeting. That will be all organized and we'll assign different
Yeah,
restaurants and
so
places.
so restaurant.
I'll work on the
remember,
restaurants this
Restaurant
week with
needs to happen
Curtis.
this week,
Yes.
and,
I just
Curtis
have
will
the
reach
10th.
out to some of his vendors, and then we'll go from there on drawing
I think we
prices.
need,
16th,
I think we need-
got a second set of family.
Okay, okay.
what was the third meeting
April
time?
16th at
16th,
9?
9 a.m.
16th.
I think we also need to lock down booths.
Yes. Yeah, so Jennifer, even if you can't attend next week, can you let us know what the booth status?
Yeah,
Okay. And you
What-
can send that to Curtis
you
and,
mean table?
yes, tables,
Okay.
who you
Yeah.
have confirmed. Perfect.
Attendees, yeah.
Okay,
Curtis, while you were out, there was some talk about distributing what I had emailed to you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I'll get that out.
To
I
committee.
thought
Yeah.
I apologize for not getting that out already. But yes, I will go back. I'll send that out right after
I
this.
have a hard stop in about 10 minutes. to
Me
get-
too.
Yeah, so, do we have any member items and reports?
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
And I know this might be a little bit early, just while I'm thinking of it, on what you handed out.
We're gonna revise that before the next meeting, so,
Okay.
Yeah.
but we
got
can,
it.
we can work on that now, or we're in the next meeting.
Let's work out, how about if I do some zhuzhing
And you
and
just-
send it?
Just one quick suggestion.
Yes, sir.
You say, your business, I believe it should say your business or organization, or
Yes, definitely.
then we can get
Yep.
more
Right,
detail.
then we can, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. Member items and reports? Anyone?
Just wanna say Curtis did a good job on Beach Talk Radio
He
this weekend.
did.
Thank you, thank you.
Great.
And thanks for Chris and Curtis showing up to the last town council meeting. We did a little summary, so we'll just, before the event, give them another go-ahead.
Okay. Anyone else? Public comment? I see no public comment. Set next meeting's agenda, and that meeting is on April 28th, which will be the day after our event. So I would suggest that we have an event recap and do lessons learned and plan
Absolutely.
for the next one. And I'm not sure what else we need to talk about at that point.
And next year we'll start a lot earlier.
Yes, we will.
Well, it should be easy.
But I think we're doing a great job, and I appreciate all y'all's efforts towards this. Y'all have been awesome, so
We
thank you.
appreciate you as well. Anything else for the good of the cause? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sam, I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second, well, Ted?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right.